The biggest lesson is if you don't belong to yourself, you're pedaling a bicycle to nowhere. You're going to keep pedaling to the day that you die. So if you don't belong to yourself, that's what you're going to be doing. If you're in a boat and you're rowing, you're going to row for the rest of your life. Once you belong to yourself, everything stops. You don't have to pedal no more. You don't have to try to make people happy no more. Just be yourself. People don't accept you for who you are. You eliminate them from your life. It's very simple. You don't have to get aggravated. Why have road rage when you can have peace?
CTz&x is a man who has spent over 4 decades shaping both structures and lives. With a distinguished career in the construction industry, Chris has taken on leadership roles that have seen him mentor countless individuals and oversee high-profile projects, including the construction of airport terminals and the largest casino in the United States. His expertise and dedication have left an indelible mark on the industry, but Chris's passion for leadership extends far beyond construction. In addition to his professional achievements, Chris has made significant contributions in the world of sports, particularly as a champion baseball coach, and his belief that true leadership is about caring for and inspiring others, and that has guided him through every endeavor. This philosophy was clearly demonstrated when he saved a travel baseball team from disbanding, leading them to 3 consecutive championships. For Chris, leadership is not about winning, it's about empathy, dedication, and the relentless pursuit of excellence. Now, as an author, CTz&x shares his profound insights and personal journey in his book, Belonging to Yourself. And this work is a testament to his belief in the power of self-awareness, self-compassion, and self-love. Drawing from his life experiences, Chris reveals how turning inward, embracing one's true self, can lead to a life of meaning, connection, and fulfillment. Through his writing, coaching, and speaking, Chris is dedicated to helping others discover their path to belonging and live the life they truly deserve. Chris, welcome to the Transcendent Minds podcast.
Thank you for having me, Michael. I appreciate being here.
What initially drew you to leadership roles in the construction industry?
I grew up in a neighborhood in New York City and drunk or did drugs. I would never follow that path. I was always the leader of the group. So when I got into construction, the same thing happened. After 3 years, the company I worked for, he called me in the office and he said, I want you to take your tools off. When you take your tools off, you're going to become the supervisor for this company. Now, the company was big. It was at 200, 250 employees. So that's a lot of people to supervise. I got involved. I was a leader for the company. Being the leader of the company, I was always dealing with unions. And I became friends with people who ran the unions. And it was a good chemistry. You and I talked off record. Everything was like between us. It was tight-lipped because it's political. You can't talk too much about the politics of the unions. So yeah, I was a leader in the construction company. I was a leader with the unions, and it was 18 or 20 years later, I opened up my own business, and I always was a leader.
How do you define a great leader? What qualities do you believe are essential for effective leadership?
You have to evaluate the people around you. You need to listen to them more than speaking, because when you listen to people talk, you'll learn more about the individual, because people talk. And sometimes they don't stop talking. Sometimes they talk too much. Sometimes they say things that doesn't resonate with you. And there's times that everything they do say resonates with you. Knowing the person and building a relationship with them, that defines the relationship and the leadership you'll have with that one individual. Now, like I said, I dealt with, I don't know, maybe 500, 600 men in the construction business. And there wasn't too many women back then. I know there are a lot of women now, but back then it wasn't too many women. I think I've seen maybe 3 ladies in the construction business that I mentored as well.
Do you have a specific instance where your leadership significantly impacted a project or a team?
Oh, for sure. I did big projects. I built airline terminals, TWA, US Air, American Airlines, 3 terminals. I built the largest casino in the United States, which is Foxwood Casino. There was 3 or 4 contractors. We all shared the work at the hotel and the casino. My role played a significant contribution to get the project done on time, make sure the workers were all happy. We can't make everyone happy, but I made sure everybody was happy. We all made the right amount of money. I know money isn't motivated for most guys in construction. You pay them well, they work harder. That's for sure. So yes, I was a good contributor to all the projects that I was part of. Plus the unions, I kept people working in the unions.
And those were big projects. They were huge projects, building airport terminals and a casino. Your leadership role would have had to have been such that you have to be able to listen to people. You have to understand their position, but be able to take the actions that you need for not only the welfare of the business, but also the welfare of the team that are contributing to that business. That's a huge thing.
Exactly. Besides listening to them talk about issues or complaints, a lot of employees would come to me because they trust me and talk about personal problems, whether it was their wife, their kids, their mother, their father, financial problems, maybe some illnesses. They would come to me, and I'm not a therapist, I'm not a psychologist, but they come and talk to me. I would give them the best advice that I would do. That also played a big role in the leadership position that I had.
Building trust is essential for people to feel safe enough to be able to talk to you about these things. You obviously built that, which is symptomatic of what a great leader needs to be. We spoke about the baseball team that you saved from being disbanded, and your experience as a baseball coach at that time. How did that influence your leadership style in the business world?
It was actually great because the baseball team, I had 2 fractions. To put the team together, I had to go out and scout players. So I went to the nearest park in my neighborhood. It was a bunch of teenage guys. The age group was 17 to 20 years old, top-notch players. Anyway, I went to the nearest park. There's always guys there. They knew me. I used to play basketball in the park, younger guys. I went to them. I said, hey, listen, all you guys, I want to talk to you. They said, what? So they came. I said, you guys ever play organized baseball? Guys raised their hand. Yeah, I did when I was 12 years old. I said, okay, good. How would you like to play organized baseball? They said, yeah, we're into it. I said, good. Whoever's interested, meet me at the field Saturday morning, 9 o'clock. That Saturday morning came and more guys showed up because they told their other friends. Now I got 16, 17 guys that all showed up. So we started talking at the field. I did some infield, outfield practice with them, get to know them better. Then I started evaluating what I lack here. What am I lacking to put this team together as a leader? So then I went to high schools because I was lacking pitching. If anybody knows about baseball, pitching is very important. So I went to these big Catholic high schools where these players, that's all they wanted to do was play sports. I recruited 5 pitchers from these Catholic schools, top-notch players. So they came down, and what happened, Michael, they started to clash. They were arguing, cursing at one another. They weren't getting along because street guys weren't getting along with the Catholic high school guys, calling them prima donnas and all this junk. After stopping the arguments, I noticed about a month later, the chemistry between them. I was like, wow, this is really blending in nice. And the friendship. And I ran a couple of barbecues to bring them even closer. Eat food, have fun, get away from baseball and just be friends with one another. So I started that. It was working out perfect when the season started. On the practice field, I was their friend. When it came game time, I was their coach, and they knew it. That took me to the construction, and I used the same formula that I did with baseball. I brought it to my profession, and it worked. Even construction jobs, guys get jealous of one another. A couple of guys used to see me. They give me a kiss hello on the cheek, because that's what they do in New York. When they're really close to you, they kiss you on the cheek. Other guys get jealous of that. Oh, you're kissing the boss's ass. Or you're brown nosing the boss. I stopped that right away. That stopped. So the baseball took it to the profession, and now today I coach people with the same techniques.
Let's talk about one of your 3 books, Belonging to Yourself. When we spoke off air, what I understood was your journey is one of profound transformation. It was a quest that began with a deep yearning for belonging. Like many of us, you sought connection in external places, whether it's through relationships or career achievements, material success. Despite these efforts, you found yourself trapped in a cycle of pain and suffering and feeling increasingly isolated and lost. And it wasn't until you started tuning into your inner wisdom that you began to uncover the love and meaning you had been searching for all along. And through that process of deep introspection and self-compassion, you discovered the power of belonging to oneself. You realized that you could truly connect with others or find your place in the world, but you needed to embrace and love yourself fully. That shift in perspective was the catalyst for profound change in your life. And you learned to trust your intuition, listen to the quiet guiding voice within, and to make choices that aligned with your true self. Now, belonging to yourself, the book you authored is not just a personal memoir. It's a guide for anyone who feels disconnected, lost, or unfulfilled. Your story is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, the strength found in vulnerability, and the courage it takes to change. You show the path to true belonging starts from within, and that by cultivating self-awareness, self-compassion, and self-love, we can create lives filled with purpose, joy, and connection. Your journey to belonging started with seeking validation and connection outside of yourself. What was the turning point or realization that made you realize the importance of looking inward?
Good question. The turning point was I started getting into trouble with the law. It was not fun. The reason why I got in trouble with the law was when my sister died, I was 28 years old, I got very angry and started getting into trouble. I didn't do drugs. I didn't drink. That wasn't my thing. I was always a fitness guy. I was always working out with weights. I was always doing something physical. Plus, my best friend got murdered because he got involved into drugs and he stepped on the wrong toes and they murdered him.
So was this grief speaking?
Yeah. So, yeah, I was hurt when my sister died.
My
sister she was like a second mother to me. I come from a single family mom raising 4 kids. My mother worked 2 jobs. And my sister used to take care of us, feed us, make us dinner, do laundry together. We did everything with my sister. She was my older sister. I got very angry. I'm a street guy. I'm not a college guy. I'm from the streets.
What happened to her? Why did she die?
She was a marathon runner, and she was going out with 2 friends on a 10-mile run, training for the marathon. She had a pulmonary aneurysm.
Oh, gosh.
She died quick, Mike. Her friends said when we went to help her, she was already passed. She died in 2 minutes. She was already gone. So I got angry. I got involved with some guys. I was running a gambling ring. People that wanted to bet on sports, they'd call me up. I want to bet the football game, the baseball game. When they didn't pay, you used to send your guys, or I would go collect the money. They would hide from you. When you did catch them, they gave you 100 different stories of why they didn't pay you. What made you more angry was when they won, that Friday, they were at your doorstep ready to collect the money. When they lost, you had to go chase them. That used to make me angry, that I got to go chase you for my money. But when you won, you were there exactly 5 o'clock to collect your money. Back then, that made me more angry. I would rather you call me up and say, Chris, I don't have your money. Got to be honest with men. Your word is your word as a man. If you can't keep your word as a man, you're not a man. Healing Warriors, what do? We have a strong mind. So that's the name of my website, healingwarriors.com. So if you're a man, be a man. Call up. You don't have the money. You owe whatever, $500 or $1,000. Just call up and say, I don't have it. But Chris, I can make you payments. You know what? I would have embraced you. I would have been like, take your time. Don't worry about it. I understand. So anyway, I got in trouble. I did a lot of various different things. That transformed my life. One of the sentences in court was, I had to do a mandatory anger management, which I was totally against in the beginning. But after 3 or 4 months went by, I couldn't wait to go see my therapist. I couldn't wait to see her. I loved being in anger management because it transformed me as a person today.
Amazing story. I love that. That makes you a great coach because you have the visceral experience of it. It's not an academic pursuit for you. You've had boots on the ground, you've had the feeling of it, you've had the experience of it. Sometimes these things happen for a reason. They happen because you're meant to be where you are today. You're in the right place. You've authored 3 books. The one we're talking about today is Belonging to Yourself. Now you're helping others. You speak about the transformative energy of self-love. How did you begin to cultivate this in your life, especially after years of searching for it externally?
Good question again, Michael. Belonging to yourself. Throughout the years, I've always wanted to belong to a group because I didn't have a family. My family was all broken apart. I didn't see my aunts and uncles in 45 years. One argument, and there goes, my mother doesn't talk to her sister. Her sister doesn't talk to her brother. My mother didn't talk to her brother. It was toxic. It was ridiculous. So here I am alone. And by the way, it trickled down to my brother and the sister. We don't talk to one another today, but that's not my choice. That's their choice because we all have choices. I'm about love. I've always wanted to belong. With the company I worked for 18 years, I felt like I belonged to that company. They embraced me. They loved me, not because I was making the money. Matter of fact, the owner of that company, he's my best friend today. We're good friends. I call him, how you doing? So I always wanted to belong. Now, to transformation, you got to belong to yourself first. I didn't do that back then. I always belonged to you first. Now I belong to me first. That's where I transformed. Wait a minute, hit the brakes. You got to do something here, Chris, told myself. You got to belong to yourself first. My journey of belonging to me first is where I live today and how I live today.
That's beautiful, Chris. In your book, you also mentioned the role of mental conditioning and habits. Can you share some of the key habits or thought patterns you had to change in order to start belonging to yourself?
I was being more kind to myself and more kind to other people. Remember, I come out of that anger stage and I needed to be kind to people. I needed to be kind to myself. I needed to look in the mirror and be true to myself. This is you, Chris. Look in the mirror. It sounds crazy that you could look in the mirror and talk to yourself, but it's not, because who else is going to listen to you? There's somebody out there that you can really trust and they love you for everything that you do or all your mistakes that you did. That would be the person to go to. So in my case, I was careful of who I spoke with. My circle was big then, but I shrunk my circle now. Very small amount of people are in my life because I shrunk that circle. And that's how I changed. I changed because everybody else came first before me. Now I come first. And now by me coming first, I can help you.
You also mentioned your purpose now is to help others live the life they deserve. What advice would you give to someone who feels stuck in their current circumstances and is struggling to find inner belonging?
You got to start taking care of yourself. Whatever you think taking care of yourself is. Me personally, I would always stick to an exercise regimen. I would always get a good night's sleep. You always wake up in the morning, you're more vibrant. You have positive energy. Your mindset is good. Here's something really key. You got to get away from negative people because they're only going to drag you down. Negative people, that's what they live for. Negativity, because they're unhappy with themselves. So you got to eliminate negative people. Even if you love them, you got to take a break. You got to get away from them because here you are, you're stuck. Like you said, I'm in a position, I got nowhere to go. You got to focus on you. You can't listen to any outside stuff unless it's positive, encouragement or inspirational. So yeah, that's important. When life pushes me to the ground, my faith gives me wings.
Now that you are an author, you're a transformational coach, you're a motivational speaker, how do you integrate some of these lessons from your journey into the work with others?
From my experience, like you said before, I lived it. I didn't read this from a book. I didn't go to school and get a degree about this. I lived to tell this story, and I lived to share it, and I lived to help you the way I helped myself. So I lived it, and I wrote the book. My wife is a big help for me writing this book. She actually pushed me to write this book about my life. And I told her in the beginning, Mike, I said, we were writing out the outline of the book, and I said to my wife, who would want this life? Matter of fact, there's a video on my website, a movie trailer of my book, and I talk about it in the movie trailer. Who would want this life? If I didn't have this life, I wouldn't be able to share my book, my story, and my experience and wisdom with other people to help them. That's where everything comes together.
The first power of inclusion is a sense of belonging. Do you feel that inclusion? Like you built that family with the baseball team, with the company, those employees that you had who would confide in you. You built this almost like a surrogate family until you turned inward. But the concept of belonging for many people may seem a little abstract. How would you describe it to someone who maybe beginning their journey of self-discovery? How would you describe it to someone?
The way I would describe belonging is making yourself happy. When you start belonging to yourself, it's all about making you happy first. You can't make somebody happy if you're not happy. You can't belong to somebody else if you don't belong to yourself first. There's steps to belonging, and it takes dedication, it takes discipline, it takes being true to yourself. Everything else will come. If you're in that stuck zone about belonging, belong to you. Start doing things for you, whether it's exercise, eating healthy, being kind to yourself, being kind to others. Always say thank you. Always be nice. You'll see the change day by day. You'll see that you're more grateful. You're more grateful to yourself. You're more grateful to others. You'll see the change. It doesn't take very long. If you're dedicated, this is a quick way to overcome anything in your life. I want to share something. For people that want to belong, do not allow anyone to stop you from your goals or your mission in life. That'll only set you back. If you're sharing what you like to do with someone, you hear one negative statement, you got to run because they're not supporting you. They're not going to encourage you. But if you get good vibes and good feedback, then I would keep those people in my life.
That's powerful advice. It reminds me of the lobster story where you put a bunch of lobsters in a pot, and when one tries to crawl out, they all drag it back down. That's what happens if you're not careful with people you mix with. That's really powerful advice.
You got to watch. I've been around all kinds of guys, all kinds of women. I could be on this podcast for 4 or 5 hours telling you what I witnessed, what I seen with my own eyes. But yeah, you got to always watch. Awareness, you got to be keen. You got to know. Keep your eyes open and choose the ones that encourage you. Choose the ones that inspire you. It's not that difficult. I'm grateful for the life that I live now. I say every day I wake up, I'm grateful to be alive.
Did your gut play a part in the process of belonging to yourself?
I think we talked off record. I was always honest. I always told the truth. I never talked behind anyone's back. I was always a man of my word. I always gave. I never took. I don't want to take. I'd rather give you. These are the things that stand-up guys look for in life. They want guys like me. Always tells the truth. If somebody says to a high-level guy, Chris lied, they would probably get a smack in the face because they know I wouldn't lie. So these are things that you learn, okay? As you're growing up. I was a teenager. I sat in a diner. This is a good one. I sat in a diner. I was 18 years old. This high-level guy was in the diner. He wanted to have breakfast with me. He saw good things about me. He looked at me right in the eyes. He said, look at me in my eyes. I looked at him in his eyes, and he said, if you see money before our friendship, get up, get out of this diner. I said, no, I don't see money first. I see our friendship first. He said, good. Order your breakfast. Let's have breakfast. I'm 65 years old. That happened when I was 18. And today I still talk about it because it stuck with me.
That's profound, actually.
Yeah, it is profound. Because the world changed today. It's about money. Everybody's about money. They want to, if they can make money with you, they want to know you. They want to be your best friend because they know they can make money with you. They don't really want to be your friend. They just know, I can make money with him. I'm going to be his best friend. Let me take him out to eat. Let me buy him a gift. Some guys, they come, they buy you a Rolex watch because they're looking to make money with you. And that was profound in the diner. If you see money first, get out of the diner now. Walk away from me.
I remember when I was with my cousin in LA. He lives in LA, and he took me out to this fancy restaurant. He had some of his pals with him, his work guys with him, because he ran a company. One of the guys turned around to me and he said, so what's your net worth? I'm like, what? I'd never even heard that term. And I'm talking 30 years ago. It made me wonder, that was his measuring stick in terms of how he saw me. If I said, hey, you know what, I'm a billionaire or I'm a millionaire or I'm an 8-figure income earner, then he would have looked at me very differently. I was absolutely taken aback by that statement. In England, we wouldn't say that kind of thing. My point here is it was all predicated on not who I am as a person and the values I hold and the standards and the principles, but it was about money.
I knew a group of girls back then. They were all gold diggers. One girl told me, I was friends with them, and one girl said to me that, oh, the guy over there, he likes me. So I said, oh, okay, that's nice. She goes, but I told him I'll date him, but he has to show me his tax return. I said, what? I said, what did you say? I asked him for his tax return. You asking for his tax return? Wow. Like I said, gold diggers. They wanted to see his tax return to see if he was good enough to marry. I think all those girls that there was like a group of them, I don't know, 10 girls, 8 girls. They're all divorced today. They married guys with big money. It was all about the money. Like I said, everything's about the money because that's the way the world is. People want to better themselves. People will betray you for money. What's in the book? Here's my book. Okay. I think the biggest betrayal of my life is chapter 16 in this book. That was the biggest betrayal of my life.
When you look back on your journey, what would you say is the most important lesson that you've learned about belonging, both to yourself and to the world?
The biggest lesson is if you don't belong to yourself, you're pedaling a bicycle to nowhere. You're going to keep pedaling to the day that you die. So if you don't belong to yourself, that's what you're going to be doing. If you're in a boat and you're rowing, you're going to row for the rest of your life. Once you belong to yourself, everything stops. You don't have to pedal no more. You don't have to try to make people happy no more. Just be yourself. If people don't accept you for who you are, you eliminate them from your life. It's very simple. You don't have to get aggravated. Why have road rage when you can have peace? I choose peace. After my sister died, I picked road rage. You know what? I'm angry. Now I'm going to pick road rage. I choose peace. Peace is always better.
Many of us have gut instincts and they play a process I see in belonging to oneself, but a lot of the time we don't listen, or it's in the aftermath. Oh, I should have listened to my gut. I should have listened to my intuition. In your experience, how can someone start to develop a stronger connection to their inner wisdom, to their gut instinct?
That'll come natural from all the adversities that you had in life, from all the betrayals you had in life. Now you're experiencing the wisdom to know the difference. Your intuition automatically will kick in. Like you said, I should have listened to my gut. This time, your wisdom and your experience that you share and that you had before will automatically, your body, your mind will be connected and it will inform you, this is good, this is not good. You can't learn that from a book. You could read about it, but unless you experienced it, you have to experience it. When you do fall and make a mistake, get back up. Don't give up. In a boxing ring, when a guy gets knocked down, he gets up, get back up. You keep going because that's what life is. You keep going.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it, Mike.
You're most welcome. Your journey of personal growth has influenced your approach to helping others. What advice would you give to someone who's struggling to find self-love and purpose in their life?
To find self-love in their life, they would have to be connected. I'm not going to say a therapist. They need to be connected to somebody like a coach. They need to be connected about 30 days, 40 days. They need to talk to somebody with a positive mindset. Just need to talk to somebody, get the feel of it, get the whole gist of what they should be doing. One kickoff to start your journey for self-love would be eat healthy, because if you don't eat healthy, it affects the mind. People don't understand that food gives you negative thoughts, but healthy food gives you positive thoughts. So I would start with eating healthy, self-care, do some exercise. Doesn't mean you got to go to the gym for 2-3 hours. 30 minutes a day, 45 minutes a day. If you want an hour, I would say that's maximum an hour. Start slowly, like a newborn baby. Baby crawls, start slowly, start crawling. Before you know it, you'll be up walking. And before you know it, you'll be running. Like I said, it's steps. You just got to follow the steps. but be around people that have positive thoughts, positive energy, encouragement, inspiration. So yeah, you'll come out of it. Come out of it for sure.
I know you have 3 books. You have 2 other books as well, and
I
I'd love to
do.
delve into that at some point. But where can people find you? And do you have any parting words for the audience?
People can find me on my website, healingwarriors.com. All the information is there. There'll be more content coming out. I have a YouTube channel. I'm also on Instagram. You can follow me on Instagram.
What's your YouTube channel?
Just type in my name, Chris testosterone, and I'll come up on YouTube. There's more content coming out every 2-3 days. There's new stuff coming out. There's podcasts. This podcast will be on my YouTube channel. You're a great host, by the way. Yeah. So to answer your question, be true to yourself. Be dedicated to yourself. Self-discipline. Remember, you come first, and there's no greater love than your own.
Great advice, beautiful words. I resonate with that. Your 2 other books, one's called Hernia Without Surgery,
Yes.
and the other book
Is how to increase testosterone naturally after 60 years old.
that'd be great to talk about that. Would you like to come back and talk about that?
I would love to. I'm a self-healer. So I talk about self-healing. I focus on self-healing. And I want to say that I'm part of a movement when it comes to eating healthy, self-healing, exercise, belonging to yourself. So yeah, I'm part of a movement here.
What's the movement?
The movement is how to live a happier and healthier life.
We all need that at our age. I don't see, if you're in your 60s, that you need to live in a box, watch a box, and wait for a box.
Right.
There's
You want to grow old gracefully. Grow old with all these sicknesses and illnesses because you're eating junk food, or you're not exercising, or you're just sitting there watching soap operas all day because you're retired. No, you got to move the body. There's a guy, he passed away at 96. His name was Jack LaLanne. Jack LaLanne said, the only way to hurt the body if you don't move it. So you got to move the body so you don't suffer from any pain.
He was a great role model.
Oh, forget it. He's one of the best.
The symmetry he had was incredible.
Yeah, Jack LaLanne. I never forget Jack LaLanne. I'll never forget him.
I remember reading about him when I was a kid. I think it was in the Wider magazines at the time with Joe White. Is it Joe Wider? And
Joe Weider.
Yeah, Joe Weider. That's it. Yeah, Joe Weider. Yeah. I used to get the magazines when I was young and go, wow, look at this. And
he was one of the first guys on TV, was Jack LaLanne. Yeah, first guy on TV. People at home would exercise watching him on TV.
How have you experienced the conversation today?
I loved it. I feel like I just took a load inside of me and I passed it on to all your listeners.
Chris, thank you so much for coming on the Transcendent Minds podcast. Let's get you back. I'd love to talk about self-healing, if you'd like to do that.
I would love to. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Michael. I appreciate you too.
I resonate with many of the things you're talking about, and those values, principles, standards, and the foundations they're built on are important to uphold today.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Take care.
Okay. Have a good day.
You too.
Bye for now.